Hey everyone. So if you're a beginner, I mean a real beginner, but you've watched some of my lessons. So if you've watched lessons 1, 2, and 3, then you have the A chord, A major, and you have the D chord, D major. With those two chords, I'm going to show you two great songs that you can play right now, coming up. Hey everyone, Paul Zagorski here, PZ Guitar, your virtual practice partner. And I got my old friend here, my Yamaha, and we're going to go and we're going to play two songs with just two chords, the A chord and the D chord. So if you have been practicing lesson number 3, which introduced the D chord. So, I mean, we have the E minor chord. We're not going to use that today. We have the A sus2 chord. We're not going to use that today. But we have the A major chord. We are going to use that today. And we have the D chord. We're going to use that today. So if you've been practicing being able to go back and forth, let's actually do two songs using those two chords. The first song is going to be Feelin' All Right. Yeah, that's a great song. That's Dave Mason and from Traffic in the 60s. It's just a great song. It's very simple. It's just going to be 4 down strums. I'm going to put the chords on the screen as well as the simple strumming pattern. It's just going to be 4 down strums, and all we're going to do is we're going to rock back and forth between A and D, and we're just going to do 4 down strums per measure. Change chord, 4 down strums, change chord, and we'll do that until our fingers get tired. So let's go play, and this is a good song to build up your stamina, to build up your finger strength, to build up the toughness under your fingers, to work on your timing, to work on strumming, being able just to let your arm fall down and pull it back up nice and simple. It's just going to be 4 down strums. It's a very easy pattern. So here we go. Let's do Feelin' All Right. If you want to use the song on the radio, you'll need one of these, a capo, and the capo goes on the 3rd fret. I'm not going to do that today, but if you want to play along to the radio, or if you want to practice along with me and make it sound like the radio, put a capo on 3. But if you don't have a capo, I'm assuming that you might not have one of these things because you're just starting out. You can play it just as is. So let's do our A chord. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, change 1, 2, 3, 4, and change back. And we're just going to do that. We're going to do that for a while. All right. That way you can get to practice, and I hope you practice with me. That's the whole thing here. Instead of just telling you what to do, let's practice together. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. Keep your arm moving. A. A. D. A, D, A, last A, last D, and one long A. I did not sing the lyrics because I don't want to break the camera and I don't want your speakers to explode or anything like that. But that's what you can do. That's a simple song. It just goes to show you it doesn't have to be complicated and it'll be a great song. This was Feelin' All Right was a great song, Dave Mason's song in Traffic. It was fantastic. I'll put a link in the description for to hear that song. But if you want to play along with the original recording, a capo on 3. So as opposed to no capo, and you're down here. Doesn't really matter. But the important thing here is just keep your hand moving. Let gravity take your hand down. If you want to, if you don't have a pick, you have your thumb. That's perfectly fine. You could use your thumb. It's just going to sound a little softer and a little less volume. But the important thing is what you're doing with your left hand. And the other important thing is doing with your left hand at the same time you got to do something with your right. Coordinating these two things. That's what practice is all about. And that's why we did that sequence for maybe 12, 15 times or so. So here's our second song. Casey Musgrave's Blowin Smoke. Again, same two chords, A and D. We're just going to change our rhythm pattern here a little bit. Let me just get my paper over here. And so again, this does not require a capo. This is just played all open like here. But our pattern this time is going to be down, 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 up, down. Remember the deal that we had talked about on doing an upstroke is on your way down, the pick is going to be like this, so that way it doesn't get caught and it can fall to the next string. On the way up, you got to rotate just ever so little bit so that way it doesn't get caught, because if I try and do this, it's never going to get past the E string. But if I have the pick this way, I can fall to the next string. So again, our pattern is going to be simple. It's down, 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 up, down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to do what? That's one measure. That's one measure. So we do one measure of A, switch, and switch back. Now, this song, this Blowin Smoke, has just as much time from the end of one measure to the beginning of the next. All we're doing is, in the middle of that measure, we're adding an upstroke. We're not adding an upstroke on 4. We're adding it on 3. So you're going to have plenty of time. So again, so now let's practice Blowin Smoke. It's just going to rock back and forth between A and D, A and D, A and D, A and D. Okay, there's a part or two within the song where you do where you do some consecutive A's, but shh, we're just going to ignore that. Right now, this is all about doing a pattern with A and D. So here we go, nice again. We're going to do this for a little while. Practice with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. A, D, back to A, stay with me. I know your fingers hurt. A few more. Last A. Last D, long A. Kind of got a little lost there, but oh well, you know what? That's what practice is all about. Hey, stick around, I'll give you some tips at the end here. So coming up. Hey, thank you so much for practicing, not just watching, and writing down notes, but actually sitting down and practicing. Okay, that's the thing. I can't come to your house and you can't come to mine. So the best thing to do here is to practice with someone. Try and keep in time. If I'm going too fast, you can slow down the video. You can do that within YouTube. That's a cool thing. So make sure that you do lesson number 3. Practice lesson number 3. Get the chords down. And now let's work on, this is a stamina drill. This is being able to change chords in time with your strumming hand. And this is now to get your strumming hand nice and relaxed. Let the hand fall and move it back. Let the hand fall and move it back. And to do this as clockwise, on the beat as you possibly can. In fact, if you have a metronome, use a metronome, set it nice and slow, find a time for you to do that works for you, and practice it until it gets solid, and then speed it up a little bit. But right now, this is the beginner. We're just doing things nice and easy. That's the reason why we're doing A and D, because they live very close to one another. As a matter of fact, when I'm hitting the A chord, my index finger never moves. My ring finger doesn't leave the fretboard, it just slides up. And it's my middle finger that's doing the hopping around. And on the way back, it's the same thing. There's a lot of contact that stays to the fretboard. It makes it an easier transition, rather than playing the A chord, taking all your fingers off, and then trying to relocate everything for the D. And then trying to put everything down. The idea is to keep it as simple as you possibly can. Keep your hand moving. This is your metronome. If you make a mistake, play through it. Play through it. We all make mistakes. Lord knows I do. And just keep playing through it. Chances are nobody will notice. You may notice, but that's okay. Another tip here is that if you have a mirror, play in the mirror. That way you could see your posture, you can see if you're hunched over, you can see your hands, you can see how things look. If you don't have a mirror, or you rather perhaps videotape yourself, that's the camera doesn't lie. These are all little things, and the thing here is practice, give your fingers a little break, and practice this. It's going to take a month or two. Depending on how hard you practice and how often you practice, it's going to take a while for you to get over the mental side of figuring out where your fingers have to go in time for the next measure, for the next chord change. After a while, this part, the left hand, will become a little more automatic. And you can spend all your time on the strumming hand. After a while, that will become automatic. So that's the progression here. But start off slow, be patient, it will come. And Hopefully you found some value in this. If you've practiced, leave me a comment as to what works, what doesn't work, what problems you're having. Maybe I can help. If you have a question, you're probably not the only one who does. So leave a comment, post a question. I'll try and answer it. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so that way you get notified, because I do post quite often. And I hope to see you soon, and keep practicing A and D. So, but first, do lesson number 3 first. Oh, one final tip. Be sure you are in tune, because that helps. Being in tune, you may do everything perfect, but if one string or a couple of strings are just out of whack, it's not going to sound right. And you're going to get frustrated and not figure out what's going on here. Make sure you're in tune. I'll put a link in the description, or I'll probably put like a little card that's going to be up here somewhere for a tuning, to make sure that on how to tune the guitar. Easiest way to tune is with one of these little gizmos. You just clip it on the headstock and off it goes. But until then, keep practicing, and I'll see you soon. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around and practicing with me. Right over here somewhere is going to be a really good video that I recommend that you do next if you want to keep playing. Or if you really want to keep playing, down here is going to be a nice playlist that I recommend. So until then, you keep practicing and you keep playing, and I'll see you soon. How's that? Sounds like a plan.